again. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right.
Thanks. Come on back. I guess you're taking long, right?
We're going back to our conference room, so. Sure.
Are you at all concerned about the big banks growing bigger, which is what we've seen since the bailout program started?
They institutionalized too big to fail. We've created this doomsday cycle of boom, bust, and bailout. And something has to be done, because what TARP has done is, in substance, if you look back to what got us into trouble with Fannie and Freddie, it's the same toxic cocktail that was mixed of implicit guarantees and a distorted market that gives these banks such an advantage over their smaller counterparts. Perception becomes reality, because if the market thinks the government is going to bail out these institutions, all of the trouble, all of the problems, the lack of discipline, the lack of research from investors and counterparties and creditors for these largest banks, they're not going to do their job. They're going to underprice risk. Executives are still going to benefit from this heads I win, tails the taxpayer bails me out.
Going back to too big to fail for just a second, a couple more questions. One is, from what you said, does the TARP program then virtually guarantee there will be another financial crisis down the road?
There's going to be another financial crisis. Of course there is. It's a cyclical nature. We have financial crises. The question is what are our ability to deal with it and how we're going to be able to respond and react to it, whether it's going to be through another series of bailouts, which may be necessary if we don't deal with the too big to fail problem, or whether the mechanisms that are set forth in Dodd-Frank give us a chance to actually liquidate these institutions otherwise.
Do you think, and I'm asking you to speak more broadly about your prosecutions as well as the governments in this area so far, do you think they've been adequate to address the kind of crisis we've had? And there are some people who have suggested that it's disturbing that no major banks or individuals with major banks have been prosecuted in any way. Is that a valid criticism?
I understand that criticism that people want to see more people locked up and put in jail for these crimes. In the TARP world, I think we're doing a good job. We also have another 140 investigations that are ongoing. These cases take time. They're very document intensive. We've got cases involving executives at 64 different financial institutions that applied for or received TARP funds that are still underway. So I think there's going to be more to come out of the TARP. Every government program loses money to fraud. I think this program is going to be so far below what you typically expect in a government-run program. I mean, I've seen FBI estimates anywhere from 8 to 12%, and I don't think we're going to come close.
What keeps you awake at night as the watchdog over this entity that's trying to safeguard billions and billions of taxpayer dollars?
You just get this worry that we've gone through this incredible wrenching crisis, and it's caused so much pain. We also get a lot of calls and a lot of contacts from the struggling homeowners who've been so victimized by this crisis, and those stories are just heartbreaking. I mean, the people who are losing their homes when they don't have to. This program has hurt people. Homeowners who've never missed a payment. They were on time with their payments, but they suffered a hardship, and they got into a trial modification, and then they made every payment on time, a modified payment, and then they get rejected. And when they get rejected, not only do they get a lump sum bill for all the difference in what their regular mortgage payment would have been and the modified payment, and said you need to pay this right away, they get hit with a late fee for every single month because they didn't pay the full payment, and Treasury lets this happen.
So when you tell this to Secretary Geithner, what does he say? I mean, you go to him and say, we're not helping these homeowners like we say. What is?
I don't have meetings with Secretary Geithner. The last time the conversation I was recounting earlier was probably November '09, I think is the last time that I had a face-to-face meeting with Secretary Geithner.
With so much at stake, isn't it odd that he wouldn't want to hear directly from you if there are this many homeowners that are in this path of destruction?
You have to ask him that question.